Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Football Pundits. Welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League segment of the Football Pundits. As you can see, we've got a very special guest today. For the first time, his name is Sahil Mehta, aka Sam, another bloody Liverpool fan. Man, they're all over the place right now, aren't they? And he's glowing right now, not because he's lost a lot of weight, but because, Liverpool won the league recently and they got smashed 4-0 last night. So we'll talk about all of that, and we'll talk about, therefore, all the conundrums and all the big games going into Game Week 33+. FPL expert for many years. You've always ranked very well. Your top rank has been 8,000 in the world. So going into Game Week 33, how is your team faring, and what is it that you're looking to do now, going into the last 5 game weeks?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on here. Excited to be here, talk about the FPL and everything. Last week's been a pretty whirlwind week, to say the least. Had a great celebration and then came back down to earth yesterday after that thrashing from City. But overall, on the FPL front, this has been a new year for me because I moved to Canada and it's like I was telling you guys earlier as well. Just I blame it on the time difference. I've not been making the right changes. I've not been making the right picks. It's just been a write-off here for me, to be honest. But yeah, I think now in terms of FPL going forward, I think the key is, especially with everything that's happened with the lockdown and people's chip strategies getting messed up, I think the key is making sure that you're using the right chips at the right time, especially if you have a triple captain left. I think that could be vital for you in your position. And coming into Game Week 33, I think the key is to see how, firstly, Liverpool bounce back from this defeat, because I think that they are going to look strong coming back. I think Klopp is really, I don't know if you guys heard his post-match press conference, but I've never heard him so annoyed before in my life. So I think he really gave it to his players, and I think you can expect a reaction. And then Pep's going to play his usual game and going to rest a bunch of players accordingly.
I think it's the Canadian time difference, but it seemed like Sahil was going on and on about why Liverpool was so great. Man, enough of Liverpool. But yeah, we didn't see his press conference. Karan, I'm going to get into some of the hot fixtures to watch this weekend. We've identified 4 of them, and we'll talk about 4 of them in 2 segments. The first one is probably the easier ones, which is United, Bournemouth, and Chelsea, Watford. Maybe 2 fixtures where you'd look to load up on these stars. And the second segment, where I'll come back to Sahil and Annie, is the Newcastle-West Ham game being a differential kind of game, and what do you do about City and Liverpool fixtures, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen with their players. So can you talk us through maybe what you see as the top 2 fixtures and which teams to load up on going into 33?
Yeah, these 4 are the main fixtures: United versus Bournemouth, Chelsea, Watford, Liverpool, Villa at home, and then City facing a Southampton side, who have the poorest home record in the division. Again, obviously, you said we're going to discuss this later, the City-Liverpool conundrum. But for Chelsea and United, I think it's pretty simple. You go for Bruno in United, hands down. The differential option here right now, Greenwood is emerging, as Annie had called last week.
What is he, 4.9, 5.1?
4. Yeah, he's about the 5. He's about the
4 now.
Ooh. So he's really cheap. He's almost guaranteed a start right now. And into this United attack, who are scoring freely, who have a lot to play for. In the Chelsea side of things, Mount and Pulisic is what we discussed earlier as well. In our last week's segment, I think those 2 again, are the obvious ones. Even the Pulisic still isn't that highly owned. Willian has about 10% ownership, but fantastic option, guaranteed starts basis his form right now, and he's on set pieces. So I think those would be my picks from those 2 teams.
Very cool. Annie, we'll continue from where Kern left off. While he speaks of top picks from those 2 fixtures, can you just talk about the City side? It's your favorite topic, which is Pep Roulette. Where does one go now? They play Southampton away. Do you think he'll give them a rest? Should we continue to play Sterling, KDB? What's your take on Pep's Man City side right now for FPL?
I don't think he'll give them a rest just about yet. He'll probably rest these players in the game week before the FA Cup. I think because he wants to still prove a point and try to chip away at some points, I think he will start KDB, although he did play almost full game. What you can expect is him to bring in Phil Foden more, because Jesus is not working out as a forward option. So if I was an FPL manager and Foden is only 5.3, guys, it's really, really a cutthroat price. I would definitely get Foden into my team. If I can't squeeze in Sterling, obviously, if I'm loaded up with my Liverpool players. And maybe it's a good time to look at, the defenders, to look at Mendy.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to give Mendy a clean run till the end of the season, because Mendy has missed a lot of games over the last 2 years with injury, right? So I don't think Zinchenko is someone you should look at as a fixed player. I think Mendy will be the one who's starting. So look at Mendy, look at Foden.
I'm just going to bring Kern back in. I saw him disagree with 2 points over there, Kern. I think one was on the Mendy option and the other was on Pep not rotating. Is there a disagreement there? Is there another way that you go with Man City players?
Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne played full 90 minutes versus Liverpool and they were 48-hour turnaround. And, with the City's season more or less done in terms of the league, I think De Bruyne might sit this one out, especially the thing given. I mean, you don't bench De Bruyne. I mean, you have him in your team. I'm going to have him in my team. I'm not going to remove, but I do think Pep Roulette is going to be a huge part of the thing, which is why someone like Foden, as Annie said, is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Because at 5.3 and currently at just 2.7% ownership, you have nothing to lose at that price. You only have to game. If Pep doesn't play him. If he does, great, massive returns.
Speaking of midfielders and forwards, Sahil, I think Kern and Annie did well to highlight 2 differentials already for everyone watching. It's Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden. They come at relatively cheaper options. So Sahil, talk us through what you see as a constructive midfield going into Game Week 33. What are the top midfielders that you'd look at into getting into your team? And how do you see this Liverpool side also fitting into it, given that you have Salah and Mane who also play midfield on FPL?
So I think right now the key is it's all about differentials. I think Phil Foden, what Annie said, Phil Foden is a great pick. He's looked really good every time he started. Another option that I would look at from Man City is Riyad Mahrez. Every time Mahrez has started, he's always got points. He didn't play much against Liverpool, so he's, probably banged on to start, I would say, on the weekend. Apart from that, another team that's looked really solid since the restart is Newcastle. And one Alan Saint-Maxima. He's been absolutely outstanding, and his pace has, he's been devastating defenders just like how Adama does. So I think he would be another great differential to look at and a cheap option as well at 5.5. And then, on the Liverpool front, I would look at, not removing any of Salah or Mane, especially if you have Salah. I would consider getting Salah over Mane. Because they're going to go for his Golden Boot award. It's going to be 3 in a row for him if he gets it this time. And I think the players and himself are hell-bent on getting that. So I wouldn't remove him. And I would actually think of maybe taking Mane out and bringing Salah in.
Okay, just a reminder that Liverpool play Aston Villa at home, so it could be a potential goal fest as well. So if you're looking to load up on Liverpool players, the tips coming in from Sahil is load up on Mohamed Salah, but maybe get rid of Sadio Mane. Annie, I'm going to take a quick take on your defense picks getting into Game Week 33. Who are some of the star defenders that you see as a must-have, and who do you think can make the differential for Game Week 33?
Okay, so I'll give you a first problem I have in my defense. Now, my Wolves assets with my, Patricio and Says have been giving me good returns for the last couple of game weeks. Now they play Arsenal. So in terms of having your Wolves defenders in this Doherty and Says, I would still say don't get scared. I would still say if you haven't got onto them in their team and you're looking to get Luncham's injured, he's at 4.8.
Wolves play Arsenal at home, correct?
Correct. And Says is still 4.6. He's really not a bad option. I would still tell you to switch that up and get him in. In terms of...
you don't see Arsenal scoring against Wolves then in this fixture?
Wolves traditionally have been a very good side against top teams. Even if they've lost, they've not conceded too many goals. And there's always a good chance if you have the likes of Doherty or if you have the likes of Patricia in your team, it's not worth removing them for just one game week. I would just hang on to them. I would take the licks if you get them. Moving on from Wolves, the players I want to see again, and this is the third time we're talking about it, but you have to have Newcastle defenders in your team. They almost got another clean sheet in the last game. 94th minute, I think it was unlucky. They lagged off 4-0 up, But you have to have Lascelles. He's the captain and leader of that side. He's fit. He's playing. Go for it. If not, Fernandes is just 0.3 more expensive. You need those or one of those in your team. And a third option I'll give you in terms of defense. And if you don't already have him, because a lot of people already have him, it's time to get Van Bissaka in your team if you have the money. He's still not that expensive. He's nowhere in your trend territory of 7+, 7.5+. Yep. He will get you clean sheets. Ole is liking the fact that he's getting more involved in assists, so he's going to play him unless you have an injury concern. So Wan-Bissaka, Newcastle defenders, and stick to your Wolves picks.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to talk about forwards now, and one forward that I'm very keen and excited to bring in if I can is Jamie Vardy, simply because I know he hasn't been great getting into restart, but there are 4 fixtures now that Leicester City, I see a smile on Sahil's face and I'll come to him, but Leicester play 4 fixtures now that promise quite a decent return of goals, at least if you're a Jamie Vardy fan. They play Palace at home this weekend, followed by Arsenal away. Jamie Vardy loves a goal against Arsenal, and then they play Bournemouth away, which can at times be a goal fest, and then Sheffield United at home. That's my forward line pick, and I'll come to Sahil and Kern on this. Kern, if you can just allow Sahil to go first. Sahil, I saw a smile on your face. Do you concur with the Vardy pick? And if not, who are some of your forward lines? Who are some of your players to lead the forward line this game week?
Yeah, so I 100% agree with Vardy. He's someone I'm really considering bringing into my team. Leicester haven't looked really good since the restart, but I think this is the time when they're going to come good now. Vardy's not had a goal yet, and he generally performs well against the bigger teams. So I think he would be a great pick to bring in right now, especially with him being one of the most transferred out players. I think that could be a major differential.
Yeah.
I would even potentially consider captaining him for this week. And in terms of other forward picks, there's of course Jimenez, who's been free scoring. Ings as well has been absolutely fantastic. Southampton do have tough fixtures coming up, but again, Ings has proved himself in the tougher fixtures, and considering he scored 19 goals now, I think,
Yes, yeah.
Close. So 17 goals, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's also going to try and go for the golden boot, and his goals have made Southampton secure as well. So these are options that I would look at.
So Ings, Vardy, Jimenez, I think 3 main ones that Sahil has pointed out. Kern, any other tips for who to lead your forward? And Kern, you've been having a fantastic season, and Kern's been leading our private league, and I know that he's in the top few ranks in the world as well. So what is your forward strategy? Before getting into players, Kern, do you play 3? Do you play 2? Do you play 1? How many forwards do you play, and how do you balance your team out?
I am generally a 3-4-3 kind of guy. But the problem that I'm facing right now is, and everyone is, that your big forwards just aren't giving the points. Vardy's got 2 goals in his last 10 games. I think he's had only 1 shot on target since we've resumed. So while he's that kind of player, when he goes on runs, and if you're there with him at the start, he can really reward you. It's not a risk I'm going to be taking. I took a risk with Aubameyang, getting him in. He did nothing. I knew I wanted to keep him till the Norwich game, and even though he gave me fantastic returns, I captained him and everything, I removed him straight after the Spurs game was done and got Kane in. So Kane, I think, is one of the big hitters that you should bring in. Spurs have a good run of fixtures coming up. He scored 4 yesterday, only 1 counted, but he scored 4. Nothing else. That just shows, that where the positions that your strikers are taking. Aubameyang, the 2 goals he scored were both really lucky. He's not getting into enough positions for me. He's been playing out on the left. So Kane over Aubameyang there. My other striker picks would actually be, I think, Rashford. I know I mentioned Greenwood earlier, but Rashford is someone I would pick. Like, he's facing a Bournemouth side, who had home fixtures against Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and they still shipped 6 goals, against the lowest scoring teams in the Premier League. So Bournemouth are a really enticing fixture. United in generally look good, so Rashford would be my pick. The third, honestly, is down to your gut pick. Which team do you think is performing? Jimenez is mine for now because Wolves are doing well. Yeah. I generally just like to look at longer term fixtures. So I don't like to look at that particular week, especially when I'm bringing a player in, look at 3-4 weeks down the line as well.
I was keen to hear about one name, but I didn't hear it. Sorry, Sahil. Kern, you've in general been a very big fan of Tammy Abraham. So no Tammy Abraham this weekend as well?
No, Tammy is out from my team because him and Giroud, have been sharing the starting positions. I've in fact doubled up on my midfield with Pulisic and Mount. Let's see how long they'll have. Pulisic, I brought him in last week, gave me good results. So I don't think a double up's a bad idea, honestly, because Chelsea is scoring and it's scoring more from the midfield than their strikers. So it works out.
Superb. All right, I'll come to captain picks now and we'll wrap the segment with that. Captain picks and closing comments. So Sahil, I'll start with you. Who is your captain pick and any closing comments?
So my captain pick, I have not decided yet. I'm contemplating my transfers just now, but
He's
I would
lying.
recommend.
He just doesn't want to reveal his captain because I'm chasing him in the league.
Yeah,
I'm chasing him.
We can make out a lying, bro. Come on.
Yeah. Who's your captain? Sahil, you got to pick. You got to pick.
Honestly, I haven't made my transfers yet. So once I make my transfers, I'll pick my captain. But I'm leaning towards Sadio Mane. I have him in my team right now. I know I did mention removing him for Salah, but he would be someone I'm looking at. Yeah, and the only reason I'm doing that is because I look at the chances he had against City. Chances that he would bury on with his eyes closed, right? And I'm actually seriously contemplating using my triple captain card chip on him this weekend.
Okay. No wonder he doesn't want anyone else to have money, so it becomes a differential on its own. Annie, your captain pick and any closing comments or tips?
I'll start off with just sort of a tip or a comment. We didn't mention Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin is someone who's got him. A lot of people got him in because he was 6.5. And now you're a little worried, right? They're playing Spurs, but they beat Leicester, but he's not performing well since the restart. What do you do with your Spurs assets? I would hold on to him for one more game week. That's mostly what I'm going to do. If I might take him out, though, I'll probably take him out for a very 5.5 kind of striker and keep them on my bench. Coming to my captain pick, I will most likely go for Bruno Fernandes as my option one.
Yep.
And if at all I feel I have a change of heart and I'm looking at it from an overall perspective, because I do believe Spurs weren't as bad as the results suggested, I might captain Son. So these are my two captain picks.
Nice. Karan, you and I are pretty much men who sort of wear their passion on their sleeves. And when you mentioned Rashford as a potential player to pick in your forward line, I'm just going to say that I've captained him for Game Week 33 as well. So who's your captain pick? Why? And any closing comments?
The armband is currently on Bruno Fernandes for me this week. Might change last second, but I think I'm going to go with it. I'm just always a little bit scared of giving it to players who perform brilliantly just before that.
Yeah.
But I just think the law of averages is going to come in for some reason. I know that always scares me.
And they always don't pay the next week, man. They never pay the next week.
Also, a point to remember, guys, is whenever Chelsea has dropped points this season, United has failed to capitalize and drawn the next game. So,
okay, I'm not going to put that out in the universe.
I don't want to, but we're giving facts out to people, right? So we have to do the job.
So my only thing being, Bruno has been the one who's been giving returns game after game. He's not one of those who's flopped the game after, and he's done that for me. I got him in as soon as we bought him, and he's performed for me every single week, bar one.
Yeah, that yes.
So having said that, yes, Bruno might be my pick. A differential pick that I just want to give people, you might want to look at Antonio. He had a great game. West Ham have do or die fixtures coming up. They are in a big relegation battle. He's just 0.8% owned. So that could be a great differential for you to have in your team.
And also, West Ham's fixtures are all in their hand, guys, and they have easy fixtures. They can win all of those and stay safe. It's what I feel they'll be safe.
Yep, they're against Norwich, Watford, and Villa. So they have some great fixtures.
Although they do have
Antonio's a great
fixture at St. James Park or the Sports Direct Arena in Game Week 33. So they play Newcastle away, which might be a bit of a tricky one. But I think all in all, guys, thanks for watching. I think the top tips, therefore, your top differentials that you want to look for are Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood. Some of the most popular captain picks on today's segment have been Bruno Fernandes. He's been in scintillating form. Rashford might just be a differential captain, whereas Sadio Mane, our in-house expert funded, says don't keep him in your team, but he's going to captain him for sure. So that was a really twisted and topsy-turvy segment on Game Week 33 FPL. Sahil, thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed this video, guys, smash subscribe. Do share this video. Show us some love. You can follow us on our Instagram handles down here, Twitter as well. You check for more details on our official YouTube channel and our Instagram page. Thank you for watching and see you next time.